The Forgotten Room. Sarah had always been drawn to mysteries and adventures. As a child, she would spend hours exploring the woods behind her house, always searching for hidden treasures and secret paths. As she grew older, her thirst for adventure only intensified, and she began to seek out more challenging and dangerous expeditions. So when Sarah heard about the old mansion on the outskirts of town, she knew she had to explore it. The mansion had once been a grand estate, but it had fallen into disrepair and was now little more than a decaying relic. But to Sarah, it was a treasure trove waiting to be discovered. Despite warnings from her family and friends to stay away from the dangerous building, Sarah was undeterred. She spent weeks planning her expedition, studying maps and schematics of the mansion, and gathering the necessary tools and supplies. Finally, on a cool autumn day, Sarah set out on her mission. She arrived at the mansion just as the sun was beginning to set, and she spent several hours scouting the perimeter, looking for a way in. After some time, she found an unlocked window and slipped inside. The interior of the mansion was even more decrepit than Sarah had imagined. The wallpaper was peeling, the floorboards creaked beneath her feet, and the air was thick with dust and cobwebs. But Sarah was undaunted. She donned her headlamp and began to explore the mansion, room by room. For hours, Sarah wandered through the dusty halls, examining old paintings and sculptures, and searching for clues to the mansion's past. As the night wore on, she began to grow tired, but she refused to give up. She was determined to find something special, something that would make all of her effort worth it. Finally, in the early hours of the morning, Sarah stumbled upon a door that was hidden behind a thick layer of cobwebs. Intrigued, she brushed away the webs and opened the door. Inside was a small room that was filled with antique furniture and strange artifacts. There was an old trunk in the corner, a wooden chest on the floor, and several ornate vases and urns on the shelves. But what caught Sarah's attention was a small, intricately carved wooden box that was sitting on a table in the center of the room. Without hesitation, Sarah approached the table and lifted the lid of the box. Inside was a small, leather-bound journal. The pages were yellowed with age, but the writing was still legible. Sarah eagerly began to read the journal, her heart racing with excitement. The journal belonged to the former owner of the mansion, a wealthy merchant who had lived there more than a century ago. The merchant had been a collector of rare and exotic objects, and the journal was filled with descriptions of his adventures and discoveries. As Sarah read, she became lost in the story, imagining herself as the merchant's assistant, traveling the world and uncovering treasures. But then, she heard a faint whisper. She turned around to find that the door she had entered through was now gone, leaving her trapped in the forgotten room. At first, Sarah wasn't too worried. She figured she could simply find another way out of the mansion. But as she searched the room, she realized that the forgotten room was unlike any of the other rooms in the mansion. The walls and floors seemed to shift and change, making it impossible to find a way out. Sarah began to panic. She pounded on the walls and shouted for help, but no one came. She tried to retrace her steps, but the room seemed to have no discernible exit. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah grew weaker and more desperate. She rationed the food and water she had brought with her, but it wasn't enough to sustain. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe the channel. Thank you.